Yeah, Broadcom, the chip empire built through acquisitions. In 1991, while most of the tech world was focused on personal computers and software, two UCLA professors saw an opportunity in something far more fundamental: the tiny chips that would power the connected world of tomorrow. Henry Samueli, an electrical engineering professor, and Henry Nicholas, his former student turned business partner, founded Broadcom Corporation with just $5,000 in startup capital and a vision that would reshape the semiconductor industry. Their company name came from broadband communications, reflecting their focus on chips that could handle high speed data transmission. What started as a small, fabless semiconductor company in a modest office in Westwood, California, would grow into one of the world's largest chip companies through an unprecedented acquisition strategy. Over nearly 3 decades, Broadcom would execute more than 200 acquisitions, spending over $100 billion to build a semiconductor empire that touches virtually every connected device on the planet. This is the story of how Henry Samueli turned his academic expertise into a chip dynasty worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The foundation of Broadcom's empire rested on Samueli's deep technical expertise and his early recognition of a fundamental shift in how people would consume information and entertainment. Born in Buffalo, New York, to Polish immigrant parents, Samueli earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees in electrical engineering from UCLA, where he specialized in the emerging field of digital signal processing. His doctoral thesis focused on techniques for designing analog and digital circuits, knowledge that would prove invaluable in developing the complex chips needed for broadband communications. When he co-founded Broadcom in 1991, the internet was still in its infancy, cable modems didn't exist, and most people connected to online services through dial-up modems that transmitted data at a painfully slow 14.4 kilobits per second. But Samueli envisioned a future where homes would be connected to high-speed networks capable of delivering video, audio, and data at unprecedented rates. The key to this vision was developing specialized chips that could encode, decode, and process these high-bandwidth signals efficiently and cost-effectively. Broadcom's first major breakthrough came in 1995 with the development of chips for cable modems, devices that could deliver internet access at speeds up to 100 times faster than traditional dial-up connections. This wasn't just an incremental improvement, it was the technology that would enable the broadband revolution and transform how people accessed information. By 1998, Broadcom had established itself as a leader in broadband communication chips, but Samueli recognized that organic growth alone wouldn't be enough to capitalize on the rapidly expanding market opportunities. The semiconductor industry was fragmenting into numerous specialized niches, with hundreds of small companies developing chips for specific applications like wireless communications, networking equipment, and consumer electronics. Rather than trying to develop every technology in-house, Samueli made a strategic decision that would define Broadcom's growth strategy for the next 2 decades. The company would grow through aggressive acquisitions, buying innovative companies and integrating their technologies into Broadcom's expanding product portfolio. The acquisition spree began in earnest in 1999 with the purchase of Epigram, a company specializing in chips for home networking applications, for $380 million. This was followed by a series of increasingly larger deals, including the $1.6 billion acquisition of Cybyte, which brought expertise in network processor chips, and the $1.3 billion purchase of Ultima Communications, adding Ethernet switching capabilities. Each acquisition wasn't just about buying revenue, it was about acquiring engineering talent, intellectual property, and access to new market segments. Broadcom's strategy was to identify promising technologies early, acquire the companies developing them, and then use Broadcom's manufacturing scale and customer relationships to accelerate their growth. The early 2000s marked a period of explosive growth for Broadcom as the company's acquisition machine went into overdrive, fueled by the booming demand for networking and communications equipment during the dot-com era. Between 2000 and 2002, Broadcom completed more than 20 major acquisitions, spending billions of dollars to build market-leading positions in multiple semiconductor segments. The company acquired Kurbango for its internet radio technology, bought International Microcircuits for power management chips, and purchased portions of Lucent's wireless chip business. One of the most significant early acquisitions was the 2000 purchase of Advanced Fiber Communications chip division for $120 million, which gave Broadcom crucial capabilities in optical networking semiconductors, just as telecom companies were building out fiber optic networks. The acquisition strategy was so aggressive that Broadcom was completing major deals almost monthly, integrating engineering teams from across the globe and combining their technologies into increasingly sophisticated chip solutions. This rapid expansion wasn't without challenges. Integrating dozens of different corporate cultures, technology platforms, and customer relationships required extraordinary management skill and operational discipline. But the strategy was working. Broadcom's revenue grew from $93 million in 1997 to over $4 billion by 2004, making it one of the fastest growing companies in Silicon Valley history. The true genius of Broadcom's acquisition strategy became apparent as the company began integrating multiple technologies into single chip solutions that could perform functions previously requiring separate components. This approach, known as system on a chip design, allowed Broadcom to offer customers more functionality at lower costs while creating significant barriers to competition. For example, by combining its expertise in broadband communications, acquired through early cable modem chip development, with wireless technologies gained through acquisitions like the purchase of Xevo's Bluetooth chip business, Broadcom could offer integrated solutions for devices that needed both wired and wireless connectivity. The company's 2005 acquisition of Sanburst Corporation for $600 million added advanced packet processing capabilities, while the purchase of ServerWorks for $280 million brought expertise in server chipsets. These weren't random acquisitions. Each purchase was carefully selected to fill specific gaps in Broadcom's technology portfolio or to strengthen its position in high growth markets. The integration process was equally strategic, with Broadcom's engineering teams working to combine acquired technologies into new products that leveraged the best capabilities from multiple sources. This approach allowed the company to develop chips for emerging applications like set-top boxes, wireless routers, and smartphones that required the integration of multiple communication technologies on a single piece of silicon. As the mobile revolution began in earnest with the introduction of smartphones and tablets in the late 2000s, Broadcom's diversified portfolio of communication and connectivity chips positioned the company at the center of the most significant technology trend of the decade. The iPhone, launched in 2007, and the explosion of Android devices that followed created enormous demand for chips that could handle Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and cellular communications in compact, power-efficient packages. Broadcom's years of acquisitions had given it leadership positions in many of these key technologies, and the company's chips became essential components in devices from Apple, Samsung, Google, and virtually every other major smartphone manufacturer. The company's Wi-Fi chips, developed through a combination of internal research and acquired technologies, powered wireless connectivity in billions of devices. Its Bluetooth chips enabled wireless audio, data transfer, and accessory connections. GPS chips provided location services, while various sensor and interface chips handled everything from touchscreen control to camera image processing. By 2010, Broadcom was generating over $6 billion in annual revenue, with its chips found in everything from smartphones and tablets to broadband modems and enterprise networking equipment. The company's success demonstrated the power of its acquisition-driven strategy. Rather than betting on a single technology or market, Broadcom had built a diversified portfolio that allowed it to benefit from multiple technology trends simultaneously. The 2010s brought new challenges and opportunities as the technology industry evolved beyond traditional PCs and mobile devices toward an interconnected ecosystem of smart devices, cloud computing, and high-speed networks. Broadcom continued its acquisition strategy with even larger deals, including the $3.7 billion purchase of NetLogic Microsystems in 2012, which strengthened its position in networking and security processors. The 2014 acquisition of Emulex for $610 million added storage networking capabilities, while smaller deals continued to fill technological gaps and expand market reach. However, the most transformative period began in 2015 when Avago Technologies, a Singapore-based semiconductor company led by CEO Hock Tan, announced its intention to acquire Broadcom for $37 billion in what was then one of the largest technology acquisitions in history. The combined company, which retained the Broadcom name, would have over $15 billion in annual revenue and leadership positions across multiple semiconductor markets. Hock Tan, who had built Avago through his own aggressive acquisition strategy, saw the merger as an opportunity to create a semiconductor giant with unmatched scale and technological breadth. The deal combined Broadcom's strength in wireless and broadband communications with Avago's expertise in analog chips, optical components, and industrial semiconductors. Under Hock Tan's leadership, the newly combined Broadcom accelerated its acquisition strategy to unprecedented levels, completing some of the largest semiconductor deals in industry history. The company's 2016 acquisition of Brocade Communications for $5.5 billion expanded its networking capabilities, while the 2017 purchase of Brocade's remaining assets for an additional $5.9 billion further consolidated its position in data center infrastructure. But these deals were just preparation for Broadcom's most ambitious acquisition, the 2018 purchase of CA Technologies for $18.9 billion, marking the company's entry into enterprise software. This wasn't a typical semiconductor acquisition. CA Technologies was a major software company specializing in mainframe software, security solutions, and development tools. The deal signaled Broadcom's evolution from a pure semiconductor company to a diversified technology conglomerate capable of providing both hardware and software solutions to enterprise customers. The integration of CA Technologies required different skills than traditional chip company acquisitions, but Tan's team successfully maintained the software business while leveraging Broadcom's operational expertise to improve profitability. The software strategy continued with the 2019 acquisition of Symantec's enterprise security business for $10.7 billion, further diversifying Broadcom's revenue streams and reducing its dependence on cyclical semiconductor markets. The culmination of Broadcom's acquisition-driven growth strategy came with several massive deals that cemented its position as one of the world's most valuable technology companies. The company's failed $117 billion bid for Qualcomm in 2018, which was blocked by U.S. regulators on national security grounds, demonstrated the scale of Broadcom's ambitions and its willingness to pursue transformative acquisitions. While that deal didn't succeed, Broadcom continued expanding through other major purchases, including strengthening its infrastructure software portfolio and expanding its presence in high-growth markets like 5G wireless technology and cloud computing infrastructure. By 2020, nearly 3 decades after Henry Samueli founded the company in a small Westwood office, Broadcom had evolved into a technology conglomerate with over $25 billion in annual revenue, more than 20,000 employees worldwide, and a market capitalization exceeding $200 billion. The company's chips and software were embedded in virtually every aspect of the modern digital economy, from the smartphones in people's pockets, to the servers running cloud applications, to the infrastructure powering global telecommunications networks. Samueli, who remained with the company as chief technology officer and later chairman emeritus, had witnessed his academic research transform into one of the most successful acquisition strategies in business history. Today, Broadcom stands as one of the premier examples of how strategic acquisitions can build a technology empire that spans multiple industries and market segments. The company's success demonstrates several key principles that have made it a model for other technology companies. First, the importance of technical vision combined with business acumen. Samueli's deep understanding of semiconductor technology allowed him to identify which companies and technologies would be strategically valuable long before they became obvious acquisition targets. Second, the power of diversification through acquisition. Rather than betting on a single technology trend, Broadcom built a portfolio of capabilities that allowed it to benefit from multiple technology shifts simultaneously. Third, the critical importance of integration expertise. Acquiring companies is only the first step, and Broadcom's ability to successfully integrate dozens of different organizations, technologies, and customer relationships was essential to its success. Finally, the value of scale in technology markets. Each acquisition made Broadcom stronger and more attractive to customers, creating a virtuous cycle that enabled even larger deals. From its origins as a small fabless semiconductor startup to its current position as a global technology leader, Broadcom's journey illustrates how visionary leadership, strategic thinking, and disciplined execution can transform an academic insight into a business empire worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Henry Samueli's chip empire, built one acquisition at a time, continues to shape the connected world that he envisioned more than 3 decades ago.